Alright, first we're going to be removing the skid plate off the vehicle. It's 4 15mm bolts. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove all these T15 Torx screws out of the bottom of the bumper and out of the inside of the fender well to be able to pull the front fascia off. We're removing the inner fender liner away from the bumper now to have access to some other bolts and things. Alright, so we're removing, there's 3 7mm bolts inside of here that help hold the bumper on that we're going to remove. You will have to remove, if you have a installed light bar or anything like that, you gotta remove that in order to get the bumper off. Alright, so we're getting ready to cut this bumper, and we're going to follow this line right along here. It's going to follow nice and clean across here, and then we're going to come out from there. This whole center section is going to come off. Do remember that if you are using like a cutoff wheel or something, you want to wear like a face shield or something to protect yourself from melted plastic that's going to be coming off of this thing. Alright, so we're just going to clean up the rest of these little plastic burrs and things that are on the plastic. And I just use a trim tool that just kind of takes it right off. You can use a razor blade or something like that as well. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and remove, there's 4 kind of hidden bolts right across the front to help pull the rest of the plastic off of the front. Alright, so now we're just going to remove the remaining T15 Torx from the top on the grill to finish pulling the bumper off. Alright, before we actually remove the bumper, we do have to pull out on these fender flares, and they will just kind of pop out of the way just to have enough room to pull the bumper past. Alright, so once the bumper's off, we're going to go ahead and remove this small bracket right here, because it's going to get replaced once we do the half bumper. It's just a single 10mm bolt that we're going to remove to drop it out. So now we got the bumper off, we're going to go ahead and pull these 4 bolts on the front crash beam, and then there's 4 on each side as well. These are 15mm, these are an 18mm. Alright, we're going to move these small brackets as well. It's just a single 10mm on the bottom. Alright, so we do have to unplug the outside air temp sensor. You just unplug it from here, and then we'll remove this, and then we can pull the harness and everything off of it, and we can relocate it later. So we do need to pull this little connector off right here. It's for your hood latch indicator. It's just got a small clip up top and then another small clip down below, and it'll come right out, and then it just kind of sits back out of the way once we pull the rest of the plastic off. Alright, to pull this plastic centerpiece off, there's a few bolts. There's 2 right here on the side, there's 1 here, 2 here, and then there's 1 down in the center right here, and that should come right out. Alright, once you have all the bolts out, there's 2 tabs right up here. You're going to push up on them, and then the rest of it will come right out. Alright, so once we have the plastic grill out, there is an outside air temperature sensor that's in the grill that we do need to remove to relocate onto the front of the grill. If you don't relocate this and plug it back in, you will get a check engine light. Alright, this plastic piece also needs to come out. There's 1 clip right here, and then 4 small clips across the bottom, and then it should pull out. Alright, so now we got our half bumper. We're getting ready to install it. So we got our little tabs right here that we're kind of leaving loose in place on the bumper already on each side. If you are installing a light bar, we do provide a light bar bracket. As you can see, I have that ready. We will bolt that down into place before putting it on the vehicle. And then if you are getting a winch or putting a winch in, you're going to want to set your winch in, bolt it in place, get your fair lead set in, and everything before you actually put it on the bumper. And if you are getting the accessory push bar, you're going to want to put that on prior to mounting this to the vehicle. It's just going to be 4 button heads that are going to mount up right in these slots here, and you're just going to bolt it up, tighten it down, get it even, and you'll be good to go. Alright, so we got this half bumper all set up. You want to get all your accessories on. This one's getting the light bar, it's getting a winch in it. We do have the grill guard, the push bar that's all bolted on there. So we want to get all that stuff set up before we go to put it onto the vehicle. Alright, so when you're setting this thing up here, you're probably going to want to have a friend to help you just set it up. And then you're going to come in, slide these 2 side bolts in first. They're going to be the easiest ones to do on each side. And then you'll go through, you'll kind of tip this up, and you'll slide these other 2 bolts that hold it in right there. And tighten those up, and then you can cinch it down. Alright, so once you got your winch and everything back on, we do need to put our outside air temp sensor back in place, plug it back in, pop it back into its spot, and then we have a new bracket. It's going to go right here in this factory bolt hole, and we're just going to slide that in, and now we can take temp sensor, and it goes right back right in there. We'll take this harness, we'll kind of follow this back along here again. Alright, once you get your ambient temp sensor back in there, just run the harness right along here, and then just kind of fold the other wires out, the excess, zip tie it back up against there to keep it out of the way. Alright, so once you have your half bumper all put on, you have all your accessories wired and everything, you're going to go ahead and set your front plastic bumper back on. Just slide it back in. It's all going to go kind of back into place. and then you're just going to go back over basically all the bolts that you took out, put everything back in that is still there, and should be good to go. So this small tab that we bolted on earlier, it's coming out this way. We pull the J-hook off and attach it to here. We're going to slide that there, and then it's going to go back behind it, and we're going to put it right back through just like it was from the factory. Alright, so we got a little bit extra of the fender liner hanging down, so all we're going to do is just trim it right across the bottom of that, just so keep a nice clean look. We don't have anything hanging down. Alright, that's the end of the install for the CBI off-road half bumper for the Chevy Colorado ZR2. If you have any questions or concerns, you can call or email us, and we can get back to you with any answers and help you out. Thanks.